Namaste, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mir, niha, buenos dias. Hisiche, Aquaba, Velkomen. What up, though? This is storytelling therapy. And this is session numero siete. In this session, we have three stories. The first story is My Breath. The second story is the story of Queen Liliuokalani. And the third story is a story of the Yanomami people, as shared by Davi Kopanawa Yanomami. So the first story we have is My Breath. This story of My Breath comes from the Inuit tradition of native brethren of the northern part of this western hemisphere. This is the story, My Breath. I will sing a song, a little song of myself. Sick I have lain since autumn, and have turned weak as a child. Unaya, Unaya. Sorrowful, I would that my wife were gone to another house, to a man who could be her refuge, secure and firm as the thick winter ice. Sorrowful, I would she were gone to a better protector, now that I have no strength myself to rise from my bed. Unaya, Unaya. Do you know your fate? So little you know of yourself. Now I lie faint and cannot rise, and only my memories are strong. Unaya, Unaya. Beasts of the hunt, big game, oft the fleeing quarry I chased. Let me live again and remember, forgetting my weakness. Unaya, Unaya. Let me recall the great white polar bear, high up its back body, snout in the air it came. He truly believed he alone was a male, and ran towards me. Unaya, Unaya. It threw me down again and again, then breathless departed and lay down to rest. Hid by a mound on a floe, heedless it was and unknowing that I was to be its fate, deluding itself that he alone was a male, and unthinking that I too was a man. Unaya, Unaya. I shall never forget that great blubber beast, a fjord seal, I killed from the sea ice early, long before the dawn, whilst my companions at home still lay like the dead, faint from failure and hunger, sleeping. With meat and with swelling blubber I returned so quickly, as if merely running over ice to view a breathing hole there. And yet it was an old and cunning male seal. But before he had even breathed, my harpoon head was fast, fatally deep in his neck. That was the manner of me then. Now I lie feeble on my bench, unable even to get a little blubber for my wife's stone lamp. The time will not pass, whilst dawn gives place to dawn, and spring is upon the village. Unaya, Unaya. How long shall I lie here? How long? And how long must she go a-begging for fat for her lamp, for skins for clothing, and meat for a meal? A helpless thing, a defenseless woman. Unaya, Unaya. Do you know yourself? So little you know of yourself, whilst dawn gives place to dawn, and spring is upon the village. Unaya, Unaya. That is the story of My Breath of Inuit tradition, provided from the Nunatsiaq Online.ca. Nunatsiaq Online.ca. The next story is that of Queen Liliuokalani. This comes from native Hawaiian tradition. The story is also provided most proximately by the Liliuokalani Trust. Lydia Liliuokalani Walania Wawehi Kamakaeha was born on September 2nd, 1838, 1838, in Honolulu to high-ranking Ali'i Analia Kiahokalale and Caesar Kapa Akea. She became the Hanai child of Ali E. Laura Konia and Abner Paki, and Hanai sister of Bernice Pawahi. She was also the sister of James Kaliokalani, David Kalakaua, Anna Kailani, Kaimina Aua, Miriam Lelelike, and William Pitt Leahoku. Young Princess Lydia Kamakaeha attended the boarding school run by missionary Amos Starr Cook for the royal chief's children from the time she was 4 years old. When she was 10, the school closed as a result of an epidemic of measles that took the lives of about 10,000 people, most of whom were native Hawaiian. Her 3-year-old sister, Ka'imina Aoa, who was the Hanai daughter of Kamehameha III and Queen Kalama, also died in the epidemic. Princess Kamakaeha was to be married on her 24th birthday, September 2, 1862, September 2nd, 1862. But due to the death of the 4-year-old Crown Prince of Hawaii, Prince Albert Edward Kauai Kaiale Kali Opapa Akamahamaeha, she was asked by Kamehameha IV to postpone her wedding. Honoring the wish of the king, she was married to John Owen Dominus on the 16th of that month, and then resided with her husband and his widowed Moor at Washington Place. Her brother, King Kalakoa, was appointed to the throne in February 1874, 1864, at which time he named his brother William Pitt Leliahoku as heir to the throne. On April 10, 1867, on April 10, 1877, the day after Leahoku died, Princess Lydia Kamakaeha was named heir apparent and received the title Liliuokalani. During Kalakaoa's final years of reign, wealthy plantation owners and businessmen imposed the Bayonet Constitution on the Hawaiian monarchy. The new constitution limited the power of the monarchy and effectively disenfranchised the Hawaiian people. Her beloved brother passed away in 1891, 1891, and Liliuokalani assumed the throne. One of Queen Liliuokalani's first orders of business was to amend the constitution and restore power to the monarchy and to the Hawaiian people. The local sugar planters and businessmen instigated an overthrow, fearing a loss of revenue and the influence of the queen. With the help of U.S. Marines, they forced Queen Liliuokalani to surrender the Hawaiian kingdom to the United States in 1893. A provisional government was established thereafter and named the Republic of Hawaii, proclaiming Sanford B. Dole as president. In 1895, in 1895, Liliuokalani was imprisoned for 8 months at Iolani Palace for her alleged knowledge of a counter-revolutionary attempt by her supporters, although it was never proven. Fearing she would never leave the palace alive, Liliuokalani translated Kalakaoa's text of the cosmogonic Hawaiian creation chant Kumulipo into English, with the hope that the rest of the world would get a glimpse of our heritage. She was later released on parole, and when she received a full pardon, she went to Washington, D.C. to seek help from President Grover Cleveland. Despite all of Liliuokalani's efforts, in 1898, in 1898, President William McKinley signed into law a joint resolution of Congress that purported to annex Hawaii to the United States, although the legality of that act is still in dispute today. A few weeks later, on her 60th birthday, many loyal subjects paid a visit to their beloved Queen Liliuokalani at Washington Place. Many came bearing gifts. Some, kneeling in her presence, presented their ho'okupu and backed out the same way they entered. Aside from Liliuokalani's role as a devoted monarch, she was also a faithful scholar and an extraordinary musician and composer. She was well versed in hymns and ballads of American and European influence, as well as traditional Hawaiian chant and prose. In her lifetime, Queen Liliuokalani composed further than 150 songs, 150 songs, including her most famous composition, Aloha O. On her 73rd birthday, on her 73rd birthday, Liliuokalani gave a birthday gift to her people. She had her trustees set aside a portion of property near Wakahalulu stream in Nu'uanu, which is known today as Liliuokalani Garden. Hawaii lost its last ruling monarch on November 17, on November 11th, 1917, when Liliuokalani died of a stroke at the age of 79, at her Washington Place home. At midnight, the royal rain fell lightly on the procession as her body was taken from Washington Place to the throne room of Iolani Palace, where she lay in state. When the procession arrived at Iolani Palace, there was a rumble of intermittent thunder that was looked upon as a benevolent Ho'a Iolana, or omen. At midnight of the following day, her body, preceded by the flaming torch, the emblem of the Kalakaua dynasty, and sacred kahili, was taken to Kauai Aha'o Church, where she lay in state for the next 7 days. Her remains were then taken in a procession along King Street and up Nu'uanu Avenue and placed in the royal mausoleum at Mona'ala. Through the years, Liliuokalani never faltered in her commitment to the people of Hawaii. In her will, she entrusted her estate to provide for orphan children of Hawaiian blood, amended later to include other destitute children. Her legacy is perpetuated today through the Liliuokalani Trust. That is the story of Queen Liliuokalani. And that brings us to the story of Yanomami, and specifically David Kopanawa Yanomami. This comes from the book written concerning David Kopanawa Yanomami. The book is called The Falling Sky. This is the introduction to the book, narrated by David Kopanawa Yanomami. Long ago, you came to live amongst us, and you spoke like a ghost. Little by little, you learned to imitate our language and to laugh with us. We were young, and at the beginning, you did not know me. Our ways of thinking in our lives were different because you are the son of those other people we call Nepepe. Your professors had not taught you to dream like we do, yet you came to me and you became my friend. You put yourself by my side, and later you wanted to know the words of the Zapiri, whom you call spirits in your language. So I entrusted you with my words, and I asked you to carry them further away to let them be heard by the white people who know nothing about us. We stayed sitting and talking in my house a long time, despite the horsefly and black fly bites. Few are the white people who have listened to our words in such a way. I gave you my story so that you would answer those who ask themselves what the inhabitants of the forest think. In the past, our elders told them nothing of these things, for they knew that the white people did not understand their language. This is why my words will be new to those willing to hear them. Later, I told you, if you want to take my words, do not destroy them. They are the words of Omama and the Zapiri. First draw them on image skins, then look at them often. Then you will think, Hashopi, this truly is the story of the spirits. And later you will tell your children, these drawn words are those of a Yanomami who once told me how he became spirit and learned to speak to defend his forest. When these tapes that hold the shadow of my words are no longer working, do not throw them out. Do not burn them until they are very old, and my stories have long since become drawings that white people can look at. In Ata'a, all right? Like me, you became wiser as you got older. You drew these words and struck them on paper skins like I asked you to. They went further away from me. Now I would like them to divide themselves and propagate over long distances so they can truly be heard. I taught you these things so that you would teach them to your people, to your elders, to your fars and fars-in-law, to your brothers and brothers-in-law, to the women you call wives, and to the young people who will call you far-in-law. If they ask you, how did you learn these things? You will answer them, I lived in the Yanomami's houses and ate their food for a long time. Little by little, their language took hold in me. They entrusted me with their words because they are sad that the white people are so ignorant about them. White people don't think very distantly ahead. They are always too preoccupied with the things of the moment. This is why I would like them to be able to hear my words through the drawings you made. I would like these words to penetrate their minds. After they have understood my account, I would like the white people to tell themselves, the Yanomami are other people than us, yet their words are right and clear. Now we understand what they think. These are words of truth. Their forest is beautiful and silent. They were created there and have lived in it without worry since the beginning of time. Their thought follows other paths than that of merchandise. They want to live their way. Their custom is different. They do not have image skins, but they know the Zapiri spirits and their songs. They want to defend their land because they want to continue to live there like they did before. Let it be so. If they do not protect it, their children will have no place to live happily. Then they will tell themselves that their fathers must truly have lacked wisdom to have left them nothing but barren, scorched land, permeated with epidemic smoke and crisscrossed by streams of dirty water. I would like white people to stop thinking that our forest is dead and placed here without reason. I would like to make them listen to the voice of the Zapiri who play here incessantly, dancing on their glittering mirrors. Maybe they will want to defend it with us. I would also like their sons and daughters to understand our words. I would like them to make friendship with our sons and daughters, in order not to grow up in ignorance. For if this forest is entirely devastated, no other forest will ever be born. I am a child of the inhabitants of this land from which the rivers flow, of these people who are the children, sons-in-law, and daughters-in-law of Omama. I wish to offer white people these words and those of the Zapiri, which appear in the time of dream. Our ancestors had them since the beginning of time. Then, when it was my turn to become a shaman, Omama's image placed them in my chest. Since then, my thought moves from one of these words to the next in every direction, and they increase within me endlessly. It is so. I had no other professor than Omama. It was Omama's words which came from my elders that made me wiser. My words have no other origin. Those of the white people are so different. They are probably clever, but they basically lack wisdom. Unlike them, I do not possess old books, which my ancestors' words have been drawn. The Zapiri's words are set in my thought, in the deepest part of me. They are the words of Omama. They are very old, yet the shamans constantly renew them. They have always protected the forest and its inhabitants. Today it is my turn to possess them. Later they will penetrate the minds of my children and sons-in-law, then the minds of their children and sons-in-law. It will be up to them to make them new. Then it will continue this way throughout time again and again. This way these words will never disappear. They will always remain in our thought, even if the white people throw away the paper skins of this book in which they are drawn, and even if the missionaries who we call the people of Taosi always call them lies. They can either be watered down or burned. They will not get old like those that stay stuck to image skins made from dead trees. When I am long gone, they will still be as new and strong as they are now. I asked you to set them on this paper in order to give them to the white people who will be willing to know their lines. Maybe then they will finally lend an ear to the inhabitants of the forest's words and start thinking about them in a further upright manner. That is the story of Dave Kopenawa Yanomami, of the Yanomami people, indigenous to the rainforests of this Western Hemisphere. And that is the conclusion of this session of storytelling therapy. Namaste, assalamu alaikum, shalom, mir, zaijen, adios, te chakaris, esempe na asamuje, kile ufred. One love and peace, happiness, liberation.